Hi friends and readers! This week I am back with another reading vlog where I'm going to be letting my 3 cats choose what I read this week. Well, hopefully all 3 of my cats get to choose. I normally read 2 books a week, but we're gonna shoot for 3 this week. With a quick introduction to my 3 cats from oldest to youngest, we have Louie, then we have Archie, and then we have Stevie. I did do this video about 10 weeks ago, I think, but it was a summer romance edition because they happened to pick all of my summer TBR that were romances. So this week's video is going to be fall TBR edition. It's September, you know what that means. We're getting cozy and we're getting straight into the fall TBR because do what makes you happy, and this makes me happy. What I'm going to do is write down a ton of books that are on my TBR, well actually 9 books that are on my TBR that I wanted to try and tackle this fall, and then I am going to reserve 3 of those books for each cat, so 3 times 3, 9 books total. And I'm going to toss the 3 books on my bed for each of my cats. They're probably going to think that it's like a treat, so they're going to run after one of them, I hope. That's the plan, and whatever one they run to first or touch or engage with first is going to be their pick for the week. We'll see how this goes. Last time I did the video, I used treats. That got a little bit too overwhelming for them, so we're going to try it this way instead. We might have to pivot. It's currently Monday. I have 20 minutes left on my lunch break, so we're gonna start off with the first cat, and that's going to be Louie. Roll the clips. Okay, that worked, sort of. Kind of made them smell like treats for him to actually go and look for one, but it worked. And as you saw, we got You Again. Did want to go ahead and show you the other 2, the other 2 books that we won't be reading this week because Louie says so. The first one is The Only One Left. This, I believe, is by Riley Sager. I've never read a Riley Sager book, so I'm sad, but there's always another opportunity. And the second book, Louie said, absolutely not. Oh, it was Heartless Hunter. I'm gonna read this one this fall, definitely. I put it off, so I definitely want to read it in another video. All right, so You Again. I'm gonna go see if I can either get this on Kindle, rent it from the library, or get it on Libby. That way I don't have to pay for it. But I'll catch up with you after my lunch today if I'm able to start reading it on Monday. Hello again. Get it? I am 65 pages of the way into my first book for the week that was picked by my cat Louie, and that book is You Again by Kate Goldbeck. I was able to secure a copy of it from Libby, which is the e-reader version of library books. It was available for delivery, which thank goodness I did not want to have to buy a book. You Again is an adult romance story, and if you are in fall cozy mood, you're searching for videos with fall cozy books, you see other creators reading fall books, whether it's this year or last year or the year before maybe, this book is just everywhere. So when Louie picked this one, while I was sad especially that I didn't get to read the other 2 this week, this one in particular I think just encompasses fall. I mean, look at the cover. It screams fall, which is a conception that is a little bit tricky because so far 65 pages in, the setting, the theme of the book has nothing to do with fall. Hopefully I have my fingers crossed that that changes because I do want those cozy fall vibes. From what I've heard, maybe from other booktubers or other creators, this book has been definitely hit or miss for folks, and more often than not it's been a miss. Now every time I hear a creator or a booktuber talking about this book, it's always in comparison to the movie When Harry Met Sally. Honestly, I thought that someone had just come up with that on their own and ran with it, and now every booktuber was saying that about this book, but it's in the book description. I think that it is either that everyone has viewed it like that or genuinely it was meant to be like that. So if you haven't watched When Harry Met Sally, I actually did get to watch it on the plane last year to London, or on the way home from London last year, and I really liked it. I think most people see that as one of those classic rom-com movies. And so far 65 pages of the way in, which is about 15%, I can see where the comparison is truly matching up. up. And finally, I will leave you with the book description. Also, when looking at the book description, and if you have the hard copy, there are so many positive quotes about it. So I have high hopes. There is a Ali Hazelwood blurb. She's one of my favorite authors. She said, fresh, witty, and utterly romantic. Christina Lauren did a little bit of a blurb. I mean, come on. All right, the description is, when Ari and Josh first meet, the wrong kind of sparks fly. They hate each other instantly. Ari is a free-spirited, struggling comedian who likes to keep things casual. She sublets, she takes gigs, and she never sleeps over after hooking up. While our male main character, Josh, is born and bred Manhattanite. He has very ambitious plans to take the culinary world by storm. He wants to find the one and make her breakfast in his spotless kitchen. One thing I have noticed about Josh is he's very particular. They have absolutely nothing in common except for that they happen to be sleeping with the same woman. So that's essentially how there is a commonality all these years ago between Ari and Josh. Ari is rooming with a woman and happens to sleep with her. And then she, the woman she sleeps with, also has a boyfriend. He comes to the apartment one day to see his girlfriend and they happen to meet, and from there it's history. They hate each other, but then we are flashing forward 3 years and then we're flashing forward 2 years, and these nemesis keep running into each other. I'm gonna catch back up with you probably when I get around 50% of the way through this book. I actually have tomorrow off because it's my birthday tomorrow and I took the day off. I'm gonna do a self-care day and I plan on doing lots of reading. So I'll see you then. It is now the next day since I talked to you yesterday, and I have actually made it to chapter 9 of You Again, and that is page 133 on my Kindle. I will say it is my birthday. I read a good bit last night, and then I read some more this morning. I went and got my toes done. I got a pedicure for my birthday, and I read a little bit while I was there. And now I'm back home. It's later in the afternoon, about 2:30. I did take the day off, and I do plan to spend the next like 3 hours before dinner time just reading, sitting down, relaxing, and reading. But I have decided, breaking news, that I am not going to be reading the rest of this book today. This comes with a surprise, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what I've learned in the last 133 pages. I am just really not gravitating towards this book. According to my Kindle pace, I'm 133 pages in, but I still have 4 hours left of the book, and that just doesn't seem intriguing to me. I'm not connecting to these characters at all. The chapters are really long. Like the first chapter took me forever to get through. And I was also a bit confused about our two main characters and the point of views in the writing. We are following Ari and her nemesis by occasion or happenstance, Josh. And there were these little icons in the middle of chapters. At first I thought we were getting those icons because it was sort of like a break in the chapter. So if you wanted to stop, it was a good place to stop. It's like a microphone icon, maybe like a whisk or something. I soon came to realize, which is why I was so confused half of the story, was every time that icon happened, we were switching point of views from hers to his in the middle of a chapter multiple different times in these really long chapters, and it just confused me. I was feeling like I had to really lock in to read it. So I wasn't getting the cozy fall fluff that I expected, which is on me. Didn't mean to put that on the book. Because of that, I wasn't having the best time reading it. And I have never DNF'd a book. I don't think I've ever started a book and stopped reading it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna soft DNF it for this week. And maybe if I finish the next 2 books and have time at the end of the week to read it again, I'll pick it back up because I did rent it from the library, so I've got a few more days with it. So we're gonna roll the clip. I'm going to get my other cat Archie, which is short for Archer, to pick my next read for the week. As you just saw, my little guy Archie picked for us Fearful. This is by Lauren Roberts. It's a novella that finishes out a trilogy series. I'm actually super excited. This novella came out last week and I actually picked it up a day early from the local bookstore. I went in on Monday thinking it came out that day and I asked if they had it, and cashier, she handed me the book and she said, "I can only give this to you if you promise not to post it on social media that you got it from us." And I was like, yeah? And then I went and checked and it wasn't supposed to come out until the next day. So I've been holding on to it for the last week or so. Thank you, Archie. This one is, with it being a novella, I think it's 200 something pages, but I should be able to fly through it, honestly, maybe even all today. So I'm really glad that I get to do a story that puts me back into something I've already read to help me forget a little bit about You Again. However, I did want to go ahead and show you the other books that I will not be reading this week because Archie said so. The first one was Silver Elite. Archie said absolutely not to this, which is a bit of a bummer. This is on my fall TBR. I've heard mixed reviews about it. Maybe one day in the next few weeks I'll be able to pick it up. The last one that Archie said you're not reading this week, so sorry, is going to be The Queen of Nothing, which is book number 3 for the Cruel Prince series, The Folk of the Air, I think. Also a bummer, just not this week. All right, so I am going to go pick up Fearful. I already have it on my bookshelf, so I can just binge for the rest of the few hours before lunchtime. I'm so excited. I'm here for a quick update. I did shed the dust jacket because I hate reading with them on. For these smaller novellas, it's not as hard to read with the dust jacket, but I went ahead and took it off. One thing I'll say about this book, if you're thinking about reading it, it is small. It's such an easy read. I'm flying through it, really. One thing that has made me mad, this book is a part of the Powerless series, which is on the back and also on my shelf. It includes Powerless, Reckless, Fearless, and now 2 novellas. The first novella was, move my pumpkin, was Powerful, and Powerful is set, I believe, during Powerless and a little bit after, so it would come out in between these 2 books. And I thought these novellas were going to be the same, I'll put the dust jacket back on, we're going to be the same colors and the same size, and they're not. The first novella that came out, maybe I just got it in the wrong color. I don't even remember where I got it, honestly. It's white and it's shorter than this one. And that makes me so sad. I have to sit it up here randomly beside it just to sort of make it look normal on the bookshelf. Honestly, I do like that this one matches the rest of the series and is the same height. That I do appreciate, but now I just have this one. Sad. As far as the rest of the series, if you're thinking about just starting new with the beginning in Powerless, I rated Powerless a 5-star. Absolutely love Powerless. Flew through it. I immediately was like, I need the next book. I had read it before the second book, Reckless, came out. And then I think I gave Reckless and Fearless a 4-star. So the first book was my favorite out of this trilogy. And then the novella, Powerful. Yeah, Powerful, it was sad, made me cry. If you know anything about these characters, I don't want to say too much because now being on this novella that has come out, it is following characters that are happening in the last book of the trilogy, so Fearless, and then maybe it's going to follow a little bit after where the plot ends in Fearless. I'm not too sure. I can't say much about what's going on without spoiling what happens at the end of the series. I will say there are things that I'm really liking besides that I can just fly through it because it's so short. I appreciate we get a different character's point. We get a few different characters' point of view in this novella, and one of those characters is Death, and I really like how Lauren Roberts has personified Death both physically and mentally, whether or not you're seeing it as a physical character in the story or just a metaphor in the story for the plot. I want to read you a quote though that I thought was like, wow, this is good. And Death is sort of looming back as someone who's observing the main characters that you see in the series to give us more insight on what happened in the third book, answer some questions that we've had, and I think this was a good way to do it. Here's a quote that Death describing herself. She is a woman, which go women. Every soul believes they are worthy of being stalked by death, but you see, she is a busy woman. One who doesn't waste her time on a man's paranoia of her possible presence. I love Death. Never thought I would say that. Will say when I first started the novella, it's been a while, I keep getting these titles mixed up. It's been a while since I read the third book, Fearless, so I kind of forgot some of the side characters that are being mentioned a lot in this novella. Slowly but surely, it's coming back to me and I'm getting it. I do see how I'm probably missing some things that are being answered that I didn't know before, but wouldn't even know it because it's been a while. That's all for now. I'm certainly going to be able to finish this today, so I'll update you when I'm done. Hello, it is Wednesday. I had such a great birthday yesterday, got to take a self-care day, and then got dinner with some family last night. And I actually finished up Powerful is the first novella. This is Fearful by Lauren Roberts, which is a fantasy novella. It's technically book 3.5 of the Powerless trilogy. Having binged it all day yesterday, it made me realize that it was a great decision to not keep reading You Again because I was just dragging along reading it versus this one. It picked up and I just kept reading. So I'm glad I put that one down and instead finished this one. Now this little novella was 211 pages and I finished last night after dinner. I am going to rate this a 4-star, which to some may be surprising. I've been seeing people pick this up in the last week and a lot of the TikToks and energy around it was this could have been an email type thing. But for me, it really filled in the gaps of what I thought was missing in the third book of the trilogy in Fearless. I was impressed by it, honestly. I liked what they did with the character of Death and how that sort of was an overlooking character so that we could see perspectives we missed out on in the third book. Now, the ending of it was a little bit, did catch me off guard a little bit. I wished it necessarily wouldn't have gone that way in the very end, but I get it. I'm not gonna hold it against it. It's a good little novella. All in all, I recommend if you liked the Powerless series, then you would like this novella. If you were probably one of those people who didn't care for the second and third book in the Powerless series, you're probably not going to like the novella, so take that as you will. It's 12:36, so I have about 24 minutes left on my lunch break, which means we are on our final cat's choice. My girl Stevie, she is going to pick our final book for the week, and I'm gonna go do that now with her. I think that all of my cat caught on to what we've been doing this week to pick the books and have associated me tossing paper in the air with treats, so they're all interested just then. My girl Stevie picked People Watching, which out of all these, I am most excited that she picked this because this is the one that I really wanted to read out of all 9 books I had on my TBR. Especially such great timing. This book came out yesterday. Thank you, Stevie. This is People Watching by Bonam-Young. Now to reveal the other 2 that she did not choose for the week, which yeah, I'm sure I might be a little bit sad, but not that sad because I did really want to read People Watching. The first one that Stevie said you are not reading is The Night and the Moth, which I've heard great things about. I'm definitely going to keep this on my fall TBR because I do want to read it, but not as much as I wanted to read People Watching, so I feel good. And then the third one, which is our 9th book of the week on my TBR that I won't be reading. Also a banger, I've heard. I see everyone rated a 5-star, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Maybe one day. I have a loan out where I've tried to rent it from the library, so maybe whenever it's available, I'll read it then. But literally for People Watching by Bonam-Young, I am going to have to buy it, I think, from the Kindle library because yesterday for my birthday, one of the things I did was go to the local bookstore. They did not have it on the release day. The library, both physical and e-library, Libby, they don't have a copy of it yet. I'm just gonna have to buy it online. After my lunch break, or I go back to work today, once I get off work, I'm gonna try to start People Watching. It is screaming fall, so nothing could be better than this pick for a fall edition of my Cats Picking My Books. Let's go. It is now Wednesday after work. I have finished up work and I am currently in my office. I'm just a few chapters into People Watching by Bonam-Young. I have read another book by Bonam-Young, actually 2 other books, one of which was more recent, actually in a different video I had read. I think it was something about mood reading library books, and one of those was Out of the Woods. I rated it somewhere between like a 3.5, I think. It was not my favorite of hers because my favorite of hers was was Out on a Limb. I adored Out on a Limb. I, at the time, had rated a 4-star, but that story has sat with me so much. It would definitely probably be like a 4.5, 5-star for me. I would recommend that to anyone, especially if they want to get to know Hannah Bonam-Young. And so when I saw that People Watching was coming out and it was fall cover, I was so excited. I love Hannah Bonam-Young's writing. I love how she introduces herself into some of these characters and her lifestyle. She gives trigger warnings and she gives this author's note, and it really puts you in the story and makes you feel for what those characters are going through. Always read her author's note. This People Watching is going to be another adult romance like her other stories. I believe it's a small town romance with, so far, a dual point of view of our two main characters. I am only about 50 pages of the way in, but I want to read you a little bit of the description so you know what this story is about. Our two main characters, our female main character is going to be Prue, I think that's short for Prudence, and then our male main character is Milo. The story is based in a charming tourist town. He is an enigmatic wanderer whose beat up van, which I love this, he has a beat up van. I have a 2003 Highlander with like 360,000 miles, so I totally relate to Milo about his car and also his family situation so far. Milo is very relatable for me. His van is covered with bumper stickers and he rolls into town just when Prue needs a change. Prue can't help but strike up an unlikely friendship with Milo, which leads to a agreement between them. I don't know what the agreement is just yet. I think I'm right before that part's about to happen. So we're gonna see what happens to Milo and Prue. This is definitely small town. They're like one of the only gas stations in the town. If anyone else moves in down the block, they try to start a small business and then they give up within a year and move away. Also, the setting, you can just feel the fallness of it, not necessarily in the descriptions of like fall leaves and fall weather, but the book is starting in September, so we know we're entering the fall season, and just the coziness of the buildings and the people in the town so far. Really excited. I think that it's going to be a great read, and I'm going to read a little bit tonight, but it's Wednesday, so it's The Summer I Turned Pretty. I think it's the second to last episode of the season, so one more week after tonight. I'll catch you later once I've read a little bit more of People Watching. It is now Thursday evening. I am 157 pages, which is roughly 47% of the way through People Watching by Hannah Bonam-Young. I did try to use up some of my Spotify premium audio listening hours today while I was riding my bike. I think I filmed a clip of that, and my freaking hours ran out in the middle of a chapter in the middle of my bike ride. I was so upset. Picked up in the middle of that chapter. I'm in my room reading now. I don't know how I'm feeling about this just yet. If I didn't explain it enough in the intro to People Watching, we are following Prue, and Prue lives in her small town with her mom and her dad, and her mom has Alzheimer's, so her and her dad are taking care of the mom, but her dad feels like she doesn't have enough of a life, essentially, to put it bluntly, and wants her to get out or wants her to experience more things, and would really like to ask for help from a professional to help take care of his mom instead of it being them full time. As that's happening, Prudence does not want that. She wants to stay with her mom and take care of her. And in rolls Milo, our main male character, who is visiting his older brother, and his younger sister is also visiting with him. They're staying with his older brother who has a million kids, and he lives in this small town. He's trying to open up a brewery, and Milo was called in. He doesn't quite know why, but he was called in to help out, and he basically committed to being in this small town in Ontario for 2 months, September and October, which is why it is so fall vibey. So Prudence and Milo are like running into each other. I don't know, some parts of it have been a little bit cringy, and if you're reading the book, the part that in my head was cringy, but maybe it was because I was listening to it on audio, was the part about the truth or dare. They're kind of doing this game where really, aside from the fact that he's just visiting town, they're kind of like, we can't do this, let's not do this, when obviously there's chemistry and banter, so it's like, why not? We'll see. I'm not completely out of it yet. Hopefully the next 50% I'll start to grow to love the character characters more, but they are very relatable. The story with the mom and the Alzheimer's, I've only ever read one other story where a family member having Alzheimer's was represented, and that was the Abby Jimenez book that recently came out, Say You'll Remember Me. It's Thursday evening. It's about 7 p.m. I am gonna read a little bit more tonight, watch some football with my boyfriend, and see if we can't finish this book here in the next day or two. That's all. Talk to you tomorrow. Hello. For me, it is morning at 9:34 on Saturday. I just finished up People Watching, and then I updated my Fable and realized that with finishing this book, I just hit my 2025 reading goal, which was 50 books. So I'm trying to decide if and it's only September, so there's plenty of time left in the year. I don't know if I want to update it though. I want to kind of feel less pressure with updating that and reaching the second goal. I think I might leave it as is, but I'm gonna think about it and see if I should change it or not. But I'm super excited. Last year my reading goal was 45, and so hitting 50 this year already is just feels good. It feels really good. So I wrapped up People Watching, which was Stevie's pick for me this week, and it was honestly one of really anticipated reads from Hannah Bonam-Young, and I am going to tell you that I rated it a 3.5 star. What I really enjoyed about this book were the side characters, the female main character Prue's dad and the mom, and then Milo's, which is the male main character, sister, brother, and the small town characters. I would recommend this book if you like a small town romance and if you like spice. For me, the part between like 50% and 70% really took me out of the story, not because I couldn't vie for their relationship or their budding relationship, but the spice in of itself was, I don't want to say cringy, it just wasn't what, I don't even know how to explain it. Now the light's like hitting my face weird. Maybe we'll turn over here. The light, it's coming up from a window up there, so I'm trying to avoid spot on my big forehead. I would say the 50 to the 70% is part of the reason why I couldn't rate the book a 5 or a 4 star. Not my favorite Hannah Bonam-Young book. It is very small town and it does give a cozy fall feeling. So I think that if you're looking for those things, small town, cozy fall, romance, a little to a lot bit of spice, then you might like this book. But personally, I would recommend it to someone. I just wouldn't go out of my way to recommend it to someone. That's it. Wrapping up the week, Archie ended up on top of the 4 star for the novella, followed by Stevie's choice, which was People Watching, with a 3.5 star, and then my poor guy Louis, I did not end up finishing You Again. That's all. Bye for now.